Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. We appreciate you being here. We're excited to take this time to highlight the partnership that Keiko has with Midway and the benefits that it brings to our membership. So, just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. Just so you know, this webinar is being recorded, so we'll send that out to your emails following today's webinar, and it will be up on our website. Also, the chat is open. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll make sure that we get to them at the end. But we'll go ahead and kick it over to Miss Kristen Dawson. She is here to talk a little bit more about the program and or answer any questions that you might have. So thank you so much, Kristen, for taking the time and being here with us. And I'll pass it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Kristen Dawson. I am one of the recruiters at Midway University. So I have been with Midway for about 5 years now, done a little bit of everything in the admissions office. So while I'm here today about some discount partnerships, I can answer basically any question you might have about how to get started with our programs. So just to give you a little bit of overview so everybody is on the same page, you can see a little bit of our campus there on the background of the screen. So if you aren't familiar with Midway, we are a small private university located in Midway, Kentucky. And some of you may be trying to mentally map that out. We hear that pretty often. Easiest way to think about us, we're about halfway between Lexington and Frankfort. So if you can find your way to either of those cities, go north or south, and you will get to us. We're a pretty small campus, pretty small university. We just hit about 2,000 students, so we're really excited for that. That was a milestone for us. So that gives you an idea of we're originally just a women's institution. We were the last all-girls school in the state of Kentucky, and we actually only in 2016. So we're just hitting that 10-year mark of being co-ed. So we have a unique history that we are really proud of. And we also have started in the last few years some partnerships with various businesses and organizations around the state to get you all discounts for being employees or members of those organizations. And so that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today. So we offer these programs, the discounts for the programs you see listed here. They are specific to our evening, online, and graduate programs. So everything that you see listed on the screen are going to be things that you can do in a primarily online format. Most of these are fully online programs. The exceptions are going to be things like our nursing program. It's just hard to do those clinicals online. We got to get you in person for those. But we do try and be flexible about the timing, even if they are going to be in the evenings or on weekends. We understand that everybody in these programs a lot of times are working, so we want to make sure we're flexible for you. But you can see on the left-hand side there, that's going to be all of our undergraduate majors. So those range from things in the business sector, business, accounting, marketing, to things that are health related, healthcare administration. I mentioned nursing already, and even things that are a little more creative, like game studies and design. We also offer a really popular education degree and equine business and sales. So I know there's a lot of places around the state that the equine industry is really big. So that's a popular one for us, being located right in the middle of horse country ourselves. On the right-hand side are our graduate level programs. So you'll see a lot of them do fall under the umbrella of the MBA. That's our Master of Business Administration. We do just a general version of that program. And then in addition, we do different concentrations. So let's say you are interested in tourism. We have an MBA that has a tourism concentration. So you can do about half of the general leadership business classes, and then the other half ends up being more related to tourism and event management. Just a fun fact, that one is really focused on the bourbon industry in particular as well. A lot of your classes center around that because we are, again, right in the middle of bourbon country too. Other than that, you're going to find things like human resource management, sport management, that all have the concentrations within the MBA. But then we also offer a couple of other master's programs, our MHA, which is our healthcare administration program, a Master of Science in Nursing, and then information systems, so if you're looking to get more into the tech side of things, and then a Master of Arts in Teaching. We do also offer a Master of Education in Teaching. I don't have it listed here though, because that one is not one that the discounts apply to. So just know that is an option. It's a really affordable program. But if you're looking to make sure that you're utilizing those discounts, the Masters of Arts in Teaching is going to be the graduate education program to take advantage of. So just to give you a starting idea of our tuition and fees, for the majority of our evening and online courses, it's going to be $3.95 per credit hour. So these work a little bit differently than what your traditional college billing is going to be, where it's a per semester price. For the evening and online classes, we do per credit hour. So depending on how many classes you're taking, that's going to change your overall cost. To start off, like I said, $3.95. RN to BSN is the one exception to that on the undergraduate level. It's going to be $2.95 per credit hour. On the graduate side, it does tend to get a little bit higher for most of those, as is pretty common with graduate programs. $4.85 is for the majority of them, you're going to credit hour cost. The MAT does go down to $3.95, as you can see there. Just a couple of fees that you're going to find: the $150 per course fee, and then a $125 per semester technology fee. So what this is going to do for you all is, as members of the organization, you are actually able to save 15% on that per credit hour cost. So that puts your savings between $59 and $75 a credit hour right off the bat. You can also stack on any FAFSA funding. So on the undergraduate level, that's going to be things like Pell Grants, CAP grants, Teach grants, as well as any federal loans. Those can be added on in addition to the discount. Same on the graduate side. Now, with the FAFSA on grad programs, it does typically round out to only be the federal loans, but you can still utilize those in addition to the discount that's available as well. And then we do always just like to point out other course fees may be applied. For the nursing program, you have to get your scrubs, you have to get your stethoscopes and things like that. So you may see a few extra costs just depending on the program you're interested in, but that's going to be your overall starting point for the majority of those programs. So what exactly is our discount program? We call it our Business Advantage program. So it allows us, there are partnerships that we have locally, there are partnerships across the state, even on a national level that we do. And it offers a 15% tuition discount to employees or members, as I mentioned, or their dependents. So this doesn't just apply to you specifically, it can also apply to spouses or children. So it's a nice way, even if you are not necessarily looking to go back to school, but you have someone in your immediate family who is, this can be something to look into. In order to apply the discount, it's a really simple process. You first have to be accepted to the university as an evening, online, or graduate student. And then once that happens, we will ask you to provide verification of your employment or membership. It's either going to be through a pay stub, an email from the HR department. We can also accept member cards, ID numbers, a lot of different things. Kind of depends on each different partnership, what specifically they have that shows that relationship, but we're pretty flexible on it. So just some kind of documentation so we have a paper trail, essentially, is what we're looking for. And one thing I always like to point out is that when you get your bill, you're not going to see the discount listed as here was a starting cost and then 15% taken off. We actually put it in as a rate change. So rather than have your tuition rate be the full price, your tuition rate, when we actually code your bill into our system, is going to include that 15% off right away. So we do get sometimes a little bit of panic when people get those bills originally. They say there's not a discount applied. It is there. We can always verify it for you, though. It just looks a little bit different than some people might expect. So don't panic if you see that. So just a little bit about our admissions process. It's pretty simple, in all honesty. We try and keep this process really straightforward, really streamlined, especially for our evening, online, and graduate programs, because as I said, a lot of our students in those programs are already working. So we want to make sure we're keeping this to where it's not a hassle for you. You start off by submitting a general application that is at apply.midway.edu. It is a super simple application. We do not ask for letters of recommendation. We don't ask for essays. Most of our programs do not have resume requirements. For the majority of them, all we're looking for are transcripts. So we will look those over. If maybe you have a child who is looking to apply to one of our programs and they're going to be coming to us straight from high school, we would consider them a first-time student, and we're going to look for a 2.5 high school GPA. For transfer students, so if you're looking at transferring into an undergraduate program, we look for a 2.0 cumulative college GPA. For most of our programs, that's going to be all that you need. Graduate programs, it does vary depending on specifically which program you're looking at, the GPA requirement. But we want to give you an idea of kind of those are ballparks. The grad programs are not terribly different from the undergrad. The exceptions to that are going to be in nursing and education. They have their own separate admissions processes, so you can have to submit some additional requirements there, but it is usually not a big hassle for those either. So we try and keep it as straightforward. Once we get everything that we need from students, we typically can get you an answer on whether or not you've been accepted within about 48 business hours. We try and make that turnaround time as quick as possible. And then let's say you want to move forward really quickly, we can usually get you registered for classes within a couple more days after that. So it's very possible that you are wanting to start right away. We can get you going and enrolled in classes within a week. Now, I did mention the FAFSA earlier. That is something that while we don't require students to do, we do encourage students to fill that out. And our code is 001975. Always remember it, 1975, easiest way for me. But we're going to share it. It'll be in the recording as well. You can also Google that too. So once you have all that in, we help you register for your first semester of classes for the majority of our programs. The admissions office will actually plan a schedule for you. We'll send that over to you to approve. We never register you without you giving us some kind of approval via an email, a text message, a phone call, you saying, yes, I'm comfortable with what you have planned and I do want to move forward. So that's the basic process. For our evening online and graduate programs, the majority of them offer 5 start dates per year. The only exception is going to be nursing for that. And we actually still have 3 of those available right now. That's what you're going to see highlighted there. Usually we have January, March, June, August, and October. January and March obviously have passed at this point, but we are still accepting applications for June and even into those August and October start dates. So we do what we call rolling admission. That's a term within higher ed basically to mean we don't have a lot of application deadlines. We don't try and set those too far in advance. You can apply. Our June start date is actually on June 1st. You can apply for that even up till June 3rd. So even a couple days after classes start. So we try and be really flexible with you again, just to make sure we're meeting your needs. And if you decide a day before classes start, you want to enroll, we will do our best to make that happen for you. So I want to open it up now for any questions. I also have my contact information there. So I do work with the majority of the programs that actually these discounts qualify for. So if you are interested in moving forward, most likely it's going to be me that would be processing your application. So I have my contact information included there. But if it ends up being another program, I can always connect you with that recruiter as well. So that phone number is my office phone, but it does connect to my cell phone too. So you can text me or call me there. And then my email is listed below.